Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1. No touching of the hair or face.
Of course.
And that's it!
You play as a unicorn.
I see assholes like you every day.
Every fucking day. Think you gonna get away with it? Not up in here!
Not up in here!
Ma, the meatloaf!
Unfortunately, I think the amateur status of the company has come through, and they bit off more than they could chew.
And I feel totally embarrassed about that whole scenario.
Welcome to Game Theory. Join me, your host Souls, and my co-hosts, Tastes Like Chicken, Hey Carnut, and Lemon, as we discuss the latest gaming topics. Oh no. Oh no! I did it again.
Steve! Do something with this guy, please!
Hello everyone, and welcome to Game Theory number 7. We are on our second show for our game extravaganza giveaway. Stay tuned because later on the show we will announce our second code word. I'd like to welcome my all too familiar co-host, TL Chicken, Hey Carnut, and Lemon. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Doing
Good.
fun?
Alright, so we got a big game that just came out this week, obviously Battlefield 3. We've been playing some Payday the Heist, and a bunch of other games. What do you guys think of the graphics of Battlefield 3? Let's start off with Chicken.
Graphics they're good, looking good. I like how they really pushed the envelope in terms of graphics, really took advantage of high-end systems, but they also allowed it to run on lower-end rigs as well, which is nice. So you still have decent performance on low settings, and if you're one of the fortunate people with a high-end rig, you can really push the envelope in terms of visuals and have a really, really epic experience.
What do you think, Carnot? Do you agree, disagree?
I don't know. I haven't been able to play the game.
Oh, that's right. Do you want to go into your EA support ordeal, or should we do that later?
No, since I probably will be sending them a legal letter, it's best that keep that private for now. But the outcome I'll certainly be glad to publish.
Cool. What do you guys think of the lighting in terms of just how it's done and how it makes the graphics look better or worse, in your opinion? Chicken?
The lighting is, I don't know, it looks pretty cool. A lot of the shadows and lighting effects they've used is something I haven't really seen before in a game. Just the way it's done. I don't know, I kind of sound like a retard when I'm talking about it, but the best way to experience it is to just stop, take a couple minutes and just look around it when you're in a different level and just kind of see what it looks like.
Okay, yeah, I've also noticed that the lighting, like flashlights, every terrain lighting, it's just amazing. I mean, you've got the overall visual effect, obviously, like ambient occlusion, all that kind of stuff, anisotropic filtering, but it just the view distance, the scale, the vegetation, everything looks amazing. What do you think?
I totally agree. The foliage and stuff does look a little chunky when you're on lower settings, but for the couple minutes when I cranked it to ultra, just to see what it looked like, yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's probably up there with one of the better looking games I've ever seen. I know the original Crysis set the bar pretty high. I wouldn't say this has surpassed it, but they're getting pretty damn close.
Absolutely. Now, do you think that it compares with Crysis in certain areas?
Yeah, no, I guess. Just in the overall fact that it's kind of pushing the tech, the level of technology required to play the game on ultra is definitely up there. It's not as bad as Crysis was. Crysis required really high-end rigs to run the game on high-end settings, which as PC player you're kind of hoping for. You want to be able to run the game, but if you have a high-end rig, you really want to have a game that will push it and test it, see what it can do. So just in terms of where they've gone with the development of the game, a new engine, kind of pushing the level that the tech level. I don't really know. I'm again sound like an idiot talking about it, but it's good to see that a game has been built for the PC.
Yeah, and it certainly shows. The tech is there, the features, the overall enjoyment. I wish the maps were maybe a little bit bigger, but that's just a personal pet peeve of mine. I know they're obviously on a different engine, different scope compared to BF2, and I understand that the Karkan DLC is going to even expand on that even more. I mean, if you saw the trailer, you would know that, I think, was it Karkan that had like 8 conquest objective points or something?
I think I saw some sort of message with like 7 or 8 or something like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. A lot of people have complained about the size of the maps. I haven't really seen that so far. But then again, I haven't really played all the maps. It seems like the servers I jump in on are already on the ones I've played. I don't really have an issue with it because I haven't played them to death. So I still need to get to know the maps. But what is it? Firestorm? Really, really big map. Takes advantage of the vehicles, which is really cool to see. Jets, helicopters, tank battles, just tons of fun.
Yeah, and I think what strikes me the most about the game is the helicopters in terms of just, they aren't quite BF2. I mean, like I said, it's obviously new engine, but it's definitely fun to fly them. They feel better than BC2. The only thing I don't like is how kind of restricted you are in the beginning. You have to work your way up, and at one point it was even worse than the jets, but I do believe they patched that so that the jets are more versatile by default. Have you flied any of the jets or the helicopters?
I've flown the jets. I was on the Canuck Gamer server, shooting it up with them yesterday. Had some problems with the TKs off the bat to get at the vehicles. Got run over a few times in spawn, some jackass driving a Jeep. But once I got into a jet and flew it, it responded much like a lot of flight sim games, not obviously to that extent in terms of controls, but fairly responsive vehicle. The weapons were pretty good. Didn't have flares. I got shot down a ton. So yeah, no, that was cool. The jets, lots of fun. But my big thing is the helicopters. Really like getting into those, flying if you got a decent gunner or a couple different guys on the side guns, depending which helicopter you got. Just awesome experience.
Cool. And do you think the sounds are better in the retail version compared to prior releases like the alpha and the beta?
Well, I only really played those just to kind of see where the development progress or the progress they made on the development cycle. I never got in and really got familiar with the game a lot. But the sounds in the retail version, Carnut's kind of on the same level with me. Probably some of the best sounds in a game that I've experienced personally.
What do you think, Carnut? Same thing?
Yeah, I concur.
Cool. And Lemon, I know you haven't played it, but have you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the sound design is very good. The only thing that I've noticed is that it's very hard to see where shots are to hear where shots are coming from, basically.
Interesting.
Due to the sound design.
I kind of agree, but I kind of don't. I'm able to discern direction, but when you're in a closed-off area with walls, the sound kind of bounces around a bit and does make it a little bit confusing. But in terms of sound and virtual versus reality, I think they've come pretty close to it.
I would disagree on reality. Certainly not realistic sounds, but they do sound incredible. I think you have to differentiate between realistic sound design and just good sound design.
Well, to me, the sounds feel a lot, or sound a lot more like when you're at a boulder or you get this shot right over your ear. It sounds like it's whoosh, it's like it's a passing sound. It's not.
Yeah, it's very Hollywoodish sound design. And
That's what I was
it's
gonna say,
realistic
yeah.
Hollywood sound design. I think it's extremely good sound design. It's extremely well done, but I would not say that it's realistic.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
realistic
then again, I
doesn't-
think that wasn't their goal. So
Yeah, true. Chicken, what did you think of the co-op? Any different? I mean, what did you think?
Co-op, it's fun. I played through some of it with Carnut. We did get stuck on one of the levels for a while, just due to the way the AI, I'm guessing, is scripted and kind of the scenario you're thrown into. I know at one point we cruise up in these Humvees, drop us off in the middle of some sort of a square. There's a ton of enemies around. I was ejected out of the Humvee right near a wall in a room, and Karnak gets tossed into the middle of the square, just looking at all the enemies that are looking back at him. Needless to say, he went down pretty quickly. But no, it's fun. It's harder than the single player, I would say. But again, the single player and the co-op isn't exactly where this game shines. It's obviously a multiplayer game. That's what it's good at. But no, it's also enjoyable though.
Aren't they supposed to be adding more co-op as time goes along, so you'll even have more fun doing that?
Not too sure.
Because I know Back to Karkan is only multiplayer. You get 10 new weapons, 3 new vehicles, and enhanced destruction. Speaking of destruction, what do you think of the overall map outlay or overlay? Like, what do you think of it? The destruction.
Well, not everything's destructible, so it's kind of tough to tell on certain maps if you can fire an RPG at a wall in front of an enemy and get him crushed by chunks of concrete. Because sometimes I've done that, it's worked. Other times you shoot at a wall and it doesn't do anything. So it's still, I think, just comes down to they haven't made everything destructible, but a lot of it certainly is, and it's just a matter of learning the levels and to get to know which buildings you can demolish and which ones you can't.
Now, do you think there's more Did you ever play Medal of Honor?
No,
You never played
just
it?
single player.
Okay, because I was going to say, obviously this game is more improved than that game, but I did notice that the destruction, and even in BC2, the destruction was a lot, but I think that the destruction in BF3 has been refined, not necessarily as much as BC2. I mean, in BC2 you could level in houses and buildings, and it would really, at the end of the game, make it look like it was a rugged landscape, and you would be shooting people while they spawn. It wasn't as much fun as when the buildings were just semi-destroyed. And I think what they've done with BF3 is a lot more, like I said, refined and detailed destruction, which I do like. It adds to the experience.
Well, I don't think the destruction was better in BC2. It definitely took a lot less to take a building down. You sit there with a tank, a few shots, it's gone. The RPGs and stuff in Battlefield 3, you really got to work at a building to take it down. I have seen buildings go down, and when they go down, wow, it's pretty cool to look at. But I like kind of how the buildings chunk apart instead of just big flat surfaces coming down like BC2. It's not like the material of the walls kind of just disappears. It's all still there, but it's in big chunks. So, like I said, I've killed a guy by shooting an RPG at a wall above him, and a chunk of cement came out and kind of squashed him.
Yeah, Manic Gamer actually says he loves the co-op and he wishes there was more. I agree, although I haven't played the co-op. I know many people that have. How long did you say the co-op was, Chicken?
I haven't played it all the way through. Rob and I just got through 3 of the levels. But no, it is fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. It's fun to play with. Carnut is great to play co-op with. We have a blast doing it. But the game, it just seems like that's not what it was, its sole purpose. Like, they didn't just design the game to be a co-op game. Multiplayer is kind of what the game is, but the single player and co-op are also enjoyable. You're not going to fault the game for including those 2 elements, but I'm glad they didn't sell it just to be a single player in a co-op game.
I also think in some cases that it could be used as preparation for the multiplayer, since it is kind of geared towards multiplayer, as you said. I personally think the single player and co-op should be, in terms of just preparing people for the game, more of a beginner's, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but a beginner's guide to playing Battlefield, if you will.
Yeah, I kind of agree. The single player is it would be kind of a prep to, say, a rush in whatever the subway level is, because you're very close in with a bunch of enemies, and basically you're just shooting, point and click on whatever pops up, and it's whack-a-mole at its finest. The co-op level, one of them that Rob and I played, we're flying a helicopter, so it gets you familiar with the controls of an attack helicopter. The gunner gets to learn how to do the gunning, running the TV missiles, and the helicopter pilot has to do his best not to crash.
Nice. Now, were you flying most of the time, or were you gunning, or can you choose either one?
You can choose either one. I think the first time we ran it, Rob hopped in as pilot, and I think we didn't agree on that setup, so we did it again, and I hopped in as pilot, and he ran the gun. As a gunner, I would take Karn on my team. He's pretty good at it.
Nice.
As for a pilot, I didn't crash, but I definitely need to practice.
Yeah. So let's switch gears here to the gameplay. For one, multiplayer gameplay. What did you think of just the overall vehicle handling?
I liked it. I'm not a huge tank whore or anything, but when you get in, you can blow shit up. You can kill other people. It's pretty cool. I don't know. What do you think?
What do I think? I wasn't very good at the choppers in the beta, but when the release came around, it seems like they optimized them a bit. I learned that it's not really good to fly high. Well, I mean, everyone has their flying style, but to me personally, I prefer to fly low and around the objectives in between the buildings, because there's so much damn AA on the map that it's like, you go up and you're getting shot from all over the place. So you gotta, in my opinion, you gotta stay low. You gotta always keep your eye out. And in this game, I think that with the helicopters, if you have a good gunner and a good pilot, you're pretty much unstoppable, assuming your team is halfway decent. In 2142 and BF2, you could have solo TVs, which is basically, for those who don't know, there's only one person flying, and you switch seats to the gunner seat to take a TV shot. The TV is the guidable missile. So what would happen is you'd have these really good pilots that were also really good gunners, and they would dominate. Now, you can't do that with BC2, with BF3, at least not to my knowledge. But what you can do is you have the pilot and a good gunner, so if both people are really good, spotting stuff, all that kind of stuff, it makes it a really enjoyable experience, in my opinion. I don't know. I haven't had nearly as much fun on infantry, because I'm just a vehicle whore, so. What did you think of the weapon handling, Chicken?
Pretty good. It's a completely different experience from a Call of Duty game, but the weapons handle quite nicely. Quite impressed with them. Yeah, the add-ons definitely help you out. I know I unlocked the SCAR in my whatever the RPG class is, the engineer class. Unlocked the SCAR, got like the red dot for that. Not a laser fan, so I don't use that. But the heavy barrel also helps out as well.
I'm gonna have a response for you, and then I'll answer something in IRC. I just wanted to say the default weapons, like when you have no unlocks, it's pretty hard to use them, but after you get the foregrip and the reflex sight, it really makes your weapon handle so much better, because you get the stabilization when you're shooting in bursts as opposed to without those unlocks. It's almost a night and day difference as to the feel and the power you get from those weapons. Now, in terms of what my favorite class is, so far I'd have to say it's a tie between engineer and assault. When I first started playing the game, I was really big into being a medic, but as I got more into the vehicles, you need to have engineer to repair the helicopters and any kind of vehicle you have. So I would definitely say engineer, but it's a close second for assault. What about you guys, Chicken?
I started off trying to do some recon, some medic, and quickly learned that life sucks when you are trying to take objectives and a tank rolls up, because there's not a whole lot you can do unless you got something to make it blow up. So default classes, no real unlocks on them. You got to have the RPG. So I've grown to really like the engineer class for some reason. Never really played an engineer in any other game, but I like it in this one. But yeah, I just need to get more unlocks on the other classes. Just put some more time into them, and I'm sure they'll get a little bit easier to play.
So
Yeah,
sorry.
Go on.
So just a question about unlocks. Seems that unlocks have changed a bit in terms of, I mean, I think generally they were considered side grades, really. But from what you guys have just said, it seems like they're really more upgrades rather than side grades.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's not like it changes the weapon completely. Side grades, I would say, would be like the flashlight or the laser to put on your machine gun. I find it gives you way more than it really helps you. It's easier to hip shoot with the laser, but then again, when you're just running around, people see the flashing red dot and guess where their bullets go.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very. I don't like
things like the foregrip,
Well, the foregrip, it helps. Stuff like the red dot, you can play without it. It's just a different sight. It makes it a little bit easier to see, but the foregrip definitely helps the accuracy. So, if you put the time in to play the class and get kills, you should earn certain upgrades like that. But I'm kind of interested to see what'll happen when everybody's high level with all unlocks and some noob comes in and gets their ass kicked.
Yeah, that's what concerns me always in the unlock games. But I mean, what I said earlier about when you get the default unlocks, to me it seems like it's kind of restricting. You don't have any foregrip, you don't have the sights, you don't really have any advantage. You just have the default kits. I think if they were to expand out some unlocks, not all of them obviously, because they want to keep people playing their game, but if they give people more of like the little stuff that applies to guns and stuff, I think it would make it more enjoyable. Because when I first started playing, I was having a hard time hitting people, not just because I sucked, but because it was harder because you didn't have that advantage with the foregrip. That little change is enough to get you an extra probably 5 to 6 kills in a round. It's pretty significant, I think, and it also adds to the level of enjoyment. So what do you guys think of the fun factor? Do you think it's comparable to that of other games? Do you like it a lot? Do you hate it?
You're asking me if I find the game fun?
Well, what am I supposed to ask you?
Well, obviously it's fun. I enjoy it. There's also some frustration factor that comes along with getting gayed in certain places on certain maps. But with any multiplayer game, that happens, so it doesn't really matter. But for the most part, my fuck yeahs beat my fuck yous, so it's winning so far.
Nice. So you enjoy the overall aspect. You enjoy just playing in general. You think you'll be playing it for a long time?
Oh, definitely. I think this game is a lot more fun than BC2, just like Toby in the IRC is saying. BC2, I played it for a few weeks and was kind of like, not so awesome, put it away, and just found myself going to other games. This game, the people that you just play with are into this game. They like playing it. They keep coming back to play it. So that says something for the game right there. It is ahead of other games they put out. So, yeah, I'll definitely play this one.
I also noticed that there's a lot more of the younger generation playing. Like, I've been getting a lot of recruits, and I haven't seen a single recruit that's been over 23. That was kind of striking to me, because I would have thought that a lot of adults, meaning people 10 or 15 years older than me, would be playing it more than the kids, but I guess it's quite the opposite. I mean, what do you guys think? Chicken?
Not really in a clan, so I don't know as to the people playing, but yeah, I'm 27. I play the game. Manic Gamer says he's 42, so everybody's kind of playing it. Everybody's enjoying it. I'd be curious to see what'll happen when Modern Warfare 3 comes out as to the numbers, but gamers are gamers, and as long as they're on a PC and can play the game, I think this is one of those games that pretty much most people are just going to try just to see what it's like.
I was actually going to say, I've noticed a lot of people I think they're going to be buying both because both seem, from an enjoyable standpoint, to be pretty good. I mean, I know, obviously, you and a few others, and sometimes me, have our opinions about certain games, but at the end of the day, if it's fun, that's what matters. And I do see a lot of that coming from the community, that a lot of people seem to be interested in both Modern Warfare 3 and Battlefield 3, which is always good. I mean, it's always good to have a lot of stuff to be playing, and this is the first year that I've ever seen, at least in my lifetime, that it's been like 5 or 6 blockbusters in one season. You don't usually get that, and I think the last time we saw that was it 2007 when Crysis came out, BioShock, Call of Duty 4. That was I think that was the last year that happened. I mean, obviously you had 2004 with Counter-Strike Source, Call of Duty 2, a bunch of other good games. Do you think? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is one of the thicker release schedules that we've seen in the last few years. Ben Kuchera from Ars Technica kind of said the same thing over Twitter. He's like, so many games to get into. I'm not going to just be playing games as much as gorging on them.
Yeah, I don't know how they timed it like that, but I mean, Skyrim, which is usually typically a 5 to 6 year development cycle game. Then you have obviously Battlefield 3, that's about the similar time frame. Modern Warfare 3. You got Batman Arkham City, I think.
Yeah.
There's a shitload of them.
Those are just the big ones too. I'm sure Lemon can fill you in on some of the indies and stuff, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of stuff to play. Even if next year kind of sucks for releases, we'll still be able to go back, pick up some ones that we passed over, and get into those ones as well.
Lemon, speaking of other games, any other games coming out that you're interested in, that you think others would be interested in, that aren't as widely known?
Well, there's currently a game called Heroes and Generals in alpha stage. It's going to be a massive online multiplayer shooter.
Kind of like PlanetSide?
Yeah, actually, kind of similar. For people that know World War II Online, for instance. It's going to be basically uniting strategy, RTSs with first-person shooters. So you've got one side, you've got the commanders producing things like tanks, and you've got them giving attack orders to units and sending units, against the enemy or letting them defend. And then you've got the option to just basically click on a unit and fight for them as first, in a first-person sense with aircraft and tanks and infantry. I haven't played it yet. It's currently in alpha stage. I've signed up for a key, for an alpha key, but at the moment they've got problem with the activation, and they'll slowly expand their alpha testing population over time. We're not certain if it's going to be free to play or if it's going to be paid, or how exactly it looks like. But for people interested, just go to heroesandgenerals.com.
And this is free to play, right?
I just said we're not entirely sure. Some people suspect that it will be, maybe, but could also be that it's going to be subscription based. But I think for the player count, it probably would be better if it would be free to play.
It sounds like if it is going subscription based, it sounds like they're going to be adding a lot of content over time. Wouldn't you think?
I think especially when going free to play, they'll have to add a lot of content, because with free to play, I mean, you'll basically have to give people incentive to pay for, advantages or premium or whatever kind of stuff. I think in the long run, We're going to find out soon, probably. It's relatively new, so it's really just an alpha stage. So I would not think that this game would be released for another year or so.
Let's do a roundtable like we did a few weeks ago, guys. I'll start off. I've been playing. The games I've been playing have been Battlefield 3, Payday the Heist, and we had one couple-hour session with. What was that zombie game, Lemon? I forget the name. I'm sorry.
No More Room in Hell.
Yes, the was it the alpha or the beta?
That's the first release beta.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been playing those 3 games. Obviously, I've been mainly playing Battlefield 3. Been playing on my community servers, other servers, any experience I can really get out of it. And I've been trying to unlock the TV missile, but I've been having a blast. It's certainly, I think, got better hit detection. The like everyone's been saying, the graphics are better. The sound is amazing. The game's pretty polished, and obviously, like any game, it's got its quirks, it's got its bugs. But I do think DICE is listening, and I think I'm confident that it'll just get better over time, and eventually they'll add content like Karkan, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm sure they'll also release other expansion packs, DLC. Particularly, I enjoy more maps because I think obviously everyone gets bored of certain maps, and that's what drives people to play games because of content, which is why you see so many people playing the MMOs. But anyways, what have you been playing, Chicken?
Battlefield 3, a bit. Mainly Payday the Heist. It's probably the best $20 I've spent in, a long time. Tons of fun.
Go on.
Oh, it's just so much fun to get together. Yeah, don't play it single player. The AI, you'll want to kill yourself before you strangle them because they'd give you grief just dying. But yeah, you get in the server. It's just peer-to-peer, just 4 players, so that's not a huge deal. But get 3 of your buddies playing together, doing some of the missions on the harder levels. Definitely one of the hardest games I've played in a long time, and tons of fun.
Cool. Anything else, or
not really, no.
Okay. And Lemon, what have you been playing the past 2 weeks?
I've been playing some World of Tanks. I started playing that again. Fun little game. I've also been playing Empire Total War with a different mod this time, Terra Incognita. And also every Wednesday I'm playing a small game called Iron Cross, which is kind of a war game, grognardish, boring game, but it's really nice and playing with developers there. Yeah, that's it pretty much.
What's your favorite game of the bunch?
I think just from the fun perspective, I'd say World of Tanks. It's just a fun game, but I kind of burn out on it, so I just play it every couple of months, a couple of weeks then. But I think generally, Empire Total War, I think with proper mods, it's a really good game, and I just like the setting.
I've been interested in that game, actually. I just never get around to making time to play it. What can you describe in a few minutes or less how you get into it and what you do?
Well, basically, I mean, anybody should be familiar with the Total War series, but short description is basically you've got one campaign map where you've got cities where you recruit armies, where you build and research things, and then as soon as your armies go to battle with the enemy, you basically command your soldiers on the 3D battlefield.
Okay, so it's like see, I've only played a few RTSs. Well, not a few, but more than that. Command and Conquer, Red Alert 2, I've played StarCraft, Warcraft 3. I have played Total War, but I think it was Napoleon Total War.
Yeah, that's Empire is pretty much the same as Napoleon Total War. It's just that Napoleon is a bit refined, but it's also a bit more restrictive as far as I'm aware.
Now, is the Total War series, can it be compared to StarCraft or Red Alert, or is it completely different?
Well, no, just imagine it like this: you've got StarCraft, you've got base building, and you've got units. Imagine you'd cut away the base building and the battles and split them apart. So you've got one hand on the campaign map, you've got the base building. Basically, it's a bit more kind of quasi-realistic. And on the other hand, you've got, once you have built your units and you sent them to battle, you then are in the battle. I mean, you've played it. I think anybody kind of interested in the Total War series knows what I'm talking about. For those who don't, I don't think there are any, but for those who don't, just check out the trailer or something, or demo.
Now,
games.
How long does the typical game last? I mean, in Battlefield 3, a typical game probably lasts 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes if you're lucky. How long does a typical game last in Total War series?
You mean a battle or campaign?
Multiplayer battle, let's say.
Oh, multiplayer battle probably an hour, depending on the forces.
So it does require more time investment, correct?
Yeah, but, well, I mean, the campaign, ground campaign can last. I think in Empire it's a bit shorter, but in the Rome, for instance, that can last for a year, maybe two. I've seen people who've been playing Rome Total War since it was released. I think nearly 10 years ago or something, and still haven't finished their campaigns.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. So that game's the Total War series has been around that long?
The Total War series has been around, I think, since 2000 or something. I think Shogun. Shogun was the first one. It's been around for a long time.
Switch to a different RTS, or I don't know if you would call this an RTS, but no, I mean a completely different game. In terms of like I said, I don't know what you would call this, but Company of Heroes. A few of us were talking about in the IRC, and I know Chicken had wanted us to get it. What was it, about 3 or 4 weeks ago? Have you been playing that at all, Chicken?
To be honest, no. Every time we get online to play, it's either Battlefield or Payday, but I have played it in the past. I have a couple friends that got quite into it, and I'm kind of disappointed that game never got as huge as it could have, because the depth and strategy involved in that game is awesome, and the job they did on the game is super polished. The game looks great, plays great, and it's a real challenge and a blast to play. Whether it's just one-on-one against just an AI opponent, or if you do one-on-one online against somebody, that's cool, but you can even get into 4v4 online against other humans, and the battles are just epic.
Yeah.
So sorry, go on, Lemon.
I mean, I've got Company of Heroes as well. It's just that I think it's a good game, but it's just too much micromanaging for me. I generally strongly dislike base buildings in games, because it's just, I'm really the tactics guy. I'm more the simulator guy, so it's just a bit. I've got a similar problem with, let's say, Men of War. It's just too much micromanaging,
Yeah,
it's
I was just
frantic.
I was just gonna say, you remember how it was like with me in Arma 2? I would always fall asleep, but you
definitely don't fall asleep in Company Heroes. There's just too much going on, and I love the hell out of those games, and I'll play them, but I suck because there's just too much going on, and I just can't manage all the different things you got to do quickly.
And they say StarCraft is supposed to be the simple one.
What? No,
Yeah.
StarCraft is probably the most competitive, grognardish RTS.
No.
When
I mean simple, I mean compared to the scale of Men of War, unless you disagree.
Well, I mean, it's very rock paper scissorish, but that's also
That's by design,
making the depth of the game as well. I mean, it's the same with Warcraft.
Yeah, exactly. No, I always like StarCraft, and it will always, probably until some other game replaces it, will always be my most enjoyed game of all time, simply because I wasn't much of a stock map player. I always loved playing the custom maps. I always loved, and this isn't a jibe or anything towards mod tools or anything like that. Back when StarCraft was popular, I would say about at least 20 to 30, if not more, percent of players were playing custom maps. And the reason for this, which is why I liked RTSs at the time, is because of how easy it was to make maps. They came with a, I don't even know if it was called a map editor. It was like a script editor. You made your settings, your doodads, all that kind of stuff. You put it together, and obviously everything was third person, but you could do role playing, RTSs, FPSs, cops and robbers, bounds, all that kind of shit. It was really fun. And I haven't seen a game like that since the recent coming of StarCraft 2, which you can do that. But I haven't seen any other game RTS-wise do that, and that's what I really loved about StarCraft. And when I started playing FPSs, probably hardcore around 2004, 2005, I never really got that same enjoyment, simply because the maps were large. Obviously, it wasn't the same as playing a quick match of 5 minutes. I mean, it's different than Call of Duty because you're playing a map. You know, it's not like a mod like 500 megabytes or something. It's much smaller. But what did you think? Does Rome Total War have that aspect, or not really?
It's not even a comparable game.
Different kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm a bit alienated by the question actually, but yeah.
True. So have you finally buckered down and gotten Payday the Heist, or do you already have it, Lemon?
No, I haven't, because I don't have, at the moment I unfortunately don't have the funds for it, so kind of,
Well, I know you've been playing it, Chicken. What level are you?
Oh shit, like 48, I think. I really don't know. It goes up to 145, and I'm about a third of the way through. It's a hard grind, but I'm enjoying it, man. I can't wait for new content, even masks. Give a few masks out. New levels would be awesome. New heists, because there's only 6, so you can get through it quite quickly. But that's
I don't know,
just
man.
the thing.
Those 5th and 6th heists are fucking difficult.
Yeah, well, if you just throw it on easy or normal, you can get through them with a group of guys. But that's just it. When we play legit, and it's tough.
Have you played the highest difficulty?
Overkill? Yeah, tried it on the Diamond Heist, and yeah, let's just say that didn't go so well.
Yeah, that's the one where you're trying to get the CFO out of there, right?
Yeah, you gotta sneak around at the start, turn off the alarms and stuff, snag some jewels, open up the vault. But those damn guards, man.
They're fucking tricky, man. It's like you're trying to dodge the security cameras. You're trying to dodge, obviously, the guards, and then you gotta look out for your own self and make sure you don't get spotted. It's really challenging. And what do you think of the AI? Have they improved the AI, or have they kept them the same?
They're kind of the same. AI is pretty stupid, but they're stupid accurate. So even just a regular cop with just a pistol can do huge damage and take you out. Whereas it's a little bit harder to kill them. But yeah, then they throw in the special units. The SWAT guys are harder to take out. The shockers are a pain in the ass because they'll get you when you least expect it. One shocker has taken out our entire squad a few different times. Just they'll be there, they'll disappear, and then they'll zap everybody else. The worst are the Splinter Cell type guys, the cloakers. Wow, they just appear out of nowhere, and one bash and you're down.
They club you, man. It's ridiculous. And they're pretty. What does it take? Like 5 shots to kill them?
Oh, a lot. Police brutality at its finest.
Yes, indeed. Now, do you think the objectives are equally challenging? I mean, obviously that's what makes the game, I think, is how they tailored each level and the objectives, and how you can have multiple scenarios. What do you think of the objectives for each, or in particular any mission?
Well, they're pretty straightforward for the most part. The Diamond Heist is the real confusing one because you got to get codes to crack the vault open. So sometimes the codes work the first time. Sometimes you need multiple sets of codes. That's all kind of randomized, which keeps you guessing. You can never just speed run through it and know what's going to happen. But I would have to say, wherever they're renting their friggin' drill and cutting equipment from, they need to invest in better stuff because
Yeah,
that
it's
shit always
ridiculous.
jams.
I mean, it's like you put it on for like 30 seconds and then you have to restart it like 2 or 3 times. Of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's you're right. They really need to upgrade their.
But it builds the whole scenario because you got cops bum rushing you, smoke grenades going out. It's just a big clusterfuck in general, and then your saw
Absolutely.
kicks out on you, and you got to get that going while staying alive. No, I don't know. It all fits well. The job they did on it, the AI obviously isn't the greatest, but you don't really notice because there's tons of cops, and you don't really get time to sit there and watch them kind of run around and hide because they're too busy owning you. So the AI you don't really notice because you just don't have time to.
I guess what I was saying is the objectives seem to make the game because if you fail one, you really have to think about a way to strategize and plan out your next course of action. You know, it's like you can't just feel your way. I mean, you can feel your way through the level, but you really gotta strategize.
Well, the cops don't stop coming, so you just got to get to it and get the objectives done. Because the cops will come in waves non-stop until you eventually run out of ammo and will save one for yourself because after killing that many cops, they're definitely not going to cuff you.
Yeah, it's more of a you really got to know what you're doing, and you got to plan fast. Because, like you said, if they keep coming at you, they're not going to stop coming at you. That's the way the game's designed. You really got to find a way to get in a safe spot, go in, take cover, move on, and rinse and repeat. It's fun, and I like the fact that it's not just like 5 or 10 minutes. It actually does take a bit of time. I mean, you can easily go on a mission depending on the difficulty for 25 to 30 minutes. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah,
And
looking forward to add-ons for that for sure.
did they announce any DLC?
They're working on it, whether it's just content add-ons like masks and stuff, or if it's full missions. I think they're doing both.
All right. And just wanted to remind you, Chicken.
Fair enough.
Anyways, I wanted to switch back to Battlefield 3 for a brief moment. We forgot to cover one topic, which was battle log. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I know a lot of people in the beginning thought that it was very poorly done idea without even trying it. Other people praised them, and personally, I was one of the people that thought it was a bad idea. But I will admit I was wrong. It's a fantastic browser system. I don't have to
Well, it's not without its
download.
problems, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
definitely innovative, cool, handy to use, but it also needs more features. Like I said on Canuck Gamer yesterday, it would be really nice to have a setup where you can change your config file basically in some sort of a browser editor, which would make it really easy to do. Tweak your controls, your graphics settings, whatever, and the next time you run the game, it inputs it in your config file for you. That would be really cool. And another one would be the default kits. If you could set up your
yes,
weapons, your add-ons, attachments without having to do it in-game, would just make it easier to run through. Just play the game. You wouldn't have to take time out when you're dead to change your kit all the time. Because I had to do that a couple times yesterday, and it's just a pain in the ass.
I also would like to add that I think it's an incredibly well, I'm not sure if it's new, but I do think it's nice that you can drag and drop your friends. Like if you're in a server, you alt tab and then you just drag people off your Battlelog friends list. You can literally just it's not even the same. Well, it's kind of like Steam, I guess, but in this sense, you're just dragging and dropping, and I like it because if I have say 10 people that I want to play with that I know are maybe in my community or just people I want to have join the server I'm on, it's quite convenient. I just drag and drop, and obviously they can choose to accept or decline. But then you also got the party join with the VoIP and the battle log system. I like it. It's quite it. People, some people I guess make it out to be really complex, but I haven't had any issues with it.
It's only as difficult to use as you make it out to be. pretty
simplistic.
straightforward. Yeah, they dummy-proof a lot of the features in it.
And
But
yet
then
some
again,
people
there's still people out there that can break it. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, that's it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyways, just call a quick timeout here. Just announce that we got the new code word up and live on the site. Anybody that is looking for it, just go to GameTheoryCast.com. It's right on the front page for a couple minutes.
Yep, so make sure you get that code, guys, because you're gonna need all 4. In any case, back to what we were talking about. So, is anyone looking forward to any games in particular that are coming out in the next few months, like Skyrim, Modern Warfare 3, Arkham City? Any of those games interest you? Anyone? Lemon Chicken?
Well, Skyrim does look interesting. I'm not entirely sure. Does anybody know the minimum specs of the game or recommended specs? But despite that, I think it looks interesting. I've always been a fan of RPGs, or action RPGs for that matter. So yeah, interested.
Do you like have you liked Oblivion and other games by that developer, or what do you think?
Elder Scrolls Morrowind was pretty damn nice, and the 2 ones before that as well, but Oblivion was, apart from a few elements, few sections of the game, was quite shit in my opinion, mainly because it never really offered you any challenge. I mean, the enemies were constantly leveling up with you, but they always were quite beatable, so it never really felt like you were advancing. It always felt like you were the level 1 guy killing level 1 creeps, basically. I mean, there were some brilliant things, like when you were playing the murderer, when you were playing the assassin's mission back in that house, and you had to
the vampire
in that party. And you had to kill all the guests in a particular party without them noticing it, and you really just had to convince them that somebody else was it, and it was just hilarious. I mean, those segments were really well done, and I think they did quite improve on that, on the gripes that I had with Fallout 3 and later on New Vegas, that basically made the enemies not constantly level up with you, which was very good. Just gave it really just more pep to it, because if you run into an area that's containing really high level weapons, it's quite lame that you can just kill the enemies there just all the same, and
well,
you should get your ass handed.
I must have completely sucked then, because I went through many of those Oblivion gates and got my ass kicked by mobs that were kind of the same level, not really higher than me, but I guess I must have really sucked because I didn't really find it overly easy, like you're saying.
Well, it wasn't overly easy. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it never was. You never encountered anything that you could not beat. Basically, it always was this. There were never any weak enemies, so you always had this annoyance of, oh look, there's a wolf. Let's just ride over it with my huge horse and all that. My plate armor. Oh my god, wolf. Well, it can kill me if I don't ignore it. So it's this entire thing of no real progression in terms of the enemies. They're always leveled with you, so they never were unbeatable, but they also never were really easy. So that's something that I really disliked about it. It just didn't feel like any progression in it.
What are you looking forward to the most about Skyrim in terms of what you want?
The new engine. I mean, there's no doubt that the Oblivion and also Fallout engine had horrible animations, and it was quite horribly buggy. I think Fallout New Vegas finally has that engine kind of sorted, but still Oblivion on itself, with all the patches and even with mods, is quite buggy still. But they've got a new engine. They've changed and rectified some of the design decisions that I did not like about Oblivion. One thing that I'm really worried about is that the game has health regen, which is really bad, I think. I mean, it's not really an action RPG if it has health regen. I mean, there's no point in using potions and all that stuff then.
All right,
that's the only thing that I'm really worried.
Sorry to cut you off. We got min specs here from Manic Gamer. It says CPU dual core, 2 gigs of RAM, 6 gigs space on a hard drive, a DX9C video card with 512 meg of RAM, and internet access for Steam.
Should be alright. Well, looks like if I've got money, I'm gonna get Skyrim then.
After Payday. Personally, you can give me Payday. Personally, I'm probably going to pass on Skyrim. As much as I would like to play it single player, I just don't have time. I got stacks of single player games that I should already be digging my way through and haven't, so I'll just let that slide till it goes on sale even, and I'll grab it. Modern Warfare 3, a lot of people looking forward to it. Me, kind of half and half. I would really like to play it, but just not really gonna jump for a $60 single-player co-op experience because the multiplayer isn't what it used to be. So probably gonna pass on that till it hits a sale in about 4 years from now.
All right, guys. Well, we're approaching the end of the show. I just wanted to thank all of our guests for tuning in. And thank you, Chicken and Lemon, for being on. Thanks, Chicken.
Hey, no problem. See you in a couple weeks.
Exactly. And thank you, Lemon.
Yeah, no problem. Just one more thing. I think we've got MechWarrior. Looks like there's...
We don't have time.
Oh, okay. Well, next week then, or 2 weeks.
Yes, and guys, just so you know, we will announce the contest words around the end of the show. Only for a few minutes, so you got to be quick. And the person that, or the people that get all 4 words need to send them to GameTheoryCast@gmail.com. We will announce the winners on the end of the 4th show. Have a good one, everyone.
So anyway, we're between banks right now. Just make those checks out to cash. Cave Johnson, we're done here.